We're going to get started at 5:40. We're just waiting for a few more people, so please help yourselves to a little bit of some snacks. And we are really trying to make sure we have a mix of representation at the table, so if you would sit where you are representing that particular stakeholder, we would greatly appreciate it. And so if you need to find a new space and make a new friend, please do so. 5 minutes. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Maybe my voice isn't loud enough. I got to use my teacher voice. It's so nice to see all of you here. My name is Rachel Monares. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, and we are just pleased to have so many parents in the room, this beautiful partnership of parents, staff, students. We are really happy to be here today to start this conversation about a potential center that we can put together for our community that would meet the needs of many different stakeholders. And so today is the beginning of a conversation that we'll be able to continue. And I'm going to ask Dr. Marsden to come and welcome the group, and we will continue from there. Thank you, Dr. Marsden.
Thank you, Dr. Monares, and so great to see all of you, some very familiar faces and a few new ones, which is also nice. I want to welcome one of our board members, Dr. Barbara Flores. She's here tonight, so she can wave and greet you all, and some other leaders I'm sure might join us a little bit later, but I did want to thank you for being here this evening. It's a Monday. It's in the evening when you could be in many other places, but you chose to be here. It's a summer when students are off, generally from school, and so it's a big commitment for you students to be here as well, so we appreciate your voices and you being here tonight. Give our students a hand for taking the time to be here tonight, too. Thank you. Appreciate your voice. And with that, you know, when you look at the topic on the agenda, Stakeholder Engagement Meeting, Centralized Enrollment Option and Resource Center, how many of you have heard of the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child? Anybody heard that one before? Yep. How about build it and they will come? Have you heard that one? Right? Build it and they will come. Well, here's another one I want you to hear, and it's form follows function. And that's used by architects. All architects consider form follows function. And you go backwards and you say, what is it that I want this space to do? What's its function? What should it do? What should this space do? And then the form follows that. And so tonight, you're visioning with us. We're not going to spend the time now. We'll spend the time, future meetings perhaps, thinking about what did we experience in the past, right? Where we are now is we're visioning for what do we want to have happen next. That's where we are today. And I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine in the city of San Bernardino a place and a time where every student, every family is served in a way that their dreams, their hopes, their aspirations are achieved because they came to San Bernardino City Unified. And because of the work that we're doing. Now, I just came from a conference with Nikki Chambers was there. She's president of our District African American Advisory Council. It was a number of other folks from the local area. Dr. Tomas Morales from Cal State San Bernardino was there. Some other key leaders from our community college system, Riverside County Office of Ed, San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools Office. And we were all talking about, this work. We hear about having to navigate the system, parents having to navigate the system, students having to navigate the system. Well, the conversation came up in our little breakout session that I thought was fantastic. What if nobody had to figure the system out, but the system actually worked for everybody who came in? It worked for every student, just by design. And it worked for every parent by design. Wouldn't that be something? Well, that's what we're working on now, is not only are we working on the system, we are working in the system. We're doing both things. So we know our system's not perfect. We know that we have many challenges still ahead for us, but the point of this conversation today is to vision, how can we do this work? How can we do this work together to ensure that all of our students are set up for success? So tonight, I want you to imagine your vision, and I want you to think about all the things we've had discussions about, you've had discussions about, of what should go into an actual enrollment resource center. That's what we want to walk away with tonight, is having a good, strong sense of what are those things we should give attention to, because, again, form follows function. What is the function we want to have as our outcome? And then we'll build around that function. So with that, Dr. Moneris and her team has a process to walk us through, and you see the agenda here. Thank you so much. Oh, and I also saw Mr. Mike Gallo, one of our other board members, just walked in. Hi, Mr. Gallo.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. So this is truly a partnership. This agenda was co-developed with Ms. Cisneros and Ms. Robertson. And so you will see parents up here presenting as much as you will see district staff, so that everybody starts to feel that this is an emerging partnership that will continue to grow and to develop. So when we came together, we said, all right, so what can we get accomplished today in the 2 hours? And then we'll be planning for the future. And we already knew that, you know, when you go and you start to eat something, or when you shop and you're really hungry and you go to the grocery store, and you probably shouldn't shop when you're hungry, because what do? You buy a lot more than what you need, right? Or that you probably should have. Or when you go to a meal and you sit down and you order more when you're really hungry. Well, we really thought we were going to be able to get a lot done today. And then when we mapped it out, we said, oh no, we're not going to be able to get that done in 2 hours. So we've already got the next day scheduled, because it's just going to take us that much time, and it's worth the time for us. So today what we want to see established, or to complete today, is to establish a wish list of services to be offered in our San Bernardino City Unified Family Engagement Center, which will include a central enrollment option, but it will probably have more, and we want to hear from you on as to what that will include. And we want to share options for a building location with our stakeholders. So there's a few things that or places that have been looked at, and so we'll be sharing that towards the end of today. And then experientially, which just means our whole relationship together, because that's really what this is about, is developing those authentic, meaningful relationships. We want you to walk out of here starting to see and feel that we are building and nurturing a relationship amongst our stakeholders, because we are here to serve you, and we need to continue to get better and practice that, so that you are always feeling like your voices are being heard. So that's a big outcome for today and for future meetings. That being said, I had another thought in my head and it went away, so it'll come back, I hope. Oh, I know what the thought was. And so as I shared, this was a co-jointed, developed agenda. Well, the people who are in the room, we really went through who should be here, who from district staff needs to be part of the conversation, and how do we make sure that district staff doesn't overpower the people that we're developing this for, which is our family and our community. And so you'll see that we purposely really spent some time thinking about how can we make sure that we have a variety of people at every table? How do we make sure that whomever will be doing the work through the district office is here, and that we hear their voices, and then more importantly, that it's double the amount of parents and community members than it is district staff. And I think Ms. Roberts and Ms. Cisneros, I think we achieved that this first go out. So thank you so much for your support, because I know you were a big piece of that. So we always start our meetings with the basics for excellence, and we actually have those on the table in front of you. They're blue. And when we were developing this agenda, I said, okay, well, I'll do the basics, and I'll come up with some team building activity. And Ms. Robertson stopped me and she said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And she said, you know, I would really like to lead that because I have a really nice activity that will help to build the group. And so the speed of trust behavior that we're going to model is, Dr. Marsden, may I see yours for a moment? I'm sorry. So our basics for excellence have key outcomes on one side, and our meeting guidelines, which we've already kind of broke one because we started a little bit late, but we will end on time. And then the other side are speed of trust behaviors, and these are the behaviors that we aspire to enact every time we come together. We're not perfect on it, but we continuously work on it. And I believe our parent advisory groups are also using the same speed of trust behaviors, and so it is definitely becoming a culture in San Bernardino City. The speed of trust behavior that we're going to practice is to demonstrate respect. And so I'm going to turn the microphone over, and Ms. Robertson.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to do this activity really quick. It requires you to, number one, get the chicken grease off of your fingers because you got to hold somebody else's hand. So if I can have everybody stand up, and then I want you to find somebody in the room that you do not know. And for some folks like Trayvon and Nikki who know everybody, find somebody that you know the least. Find somebody that you do not know. Please, yeah. All right, does everybody have a partner? Everybody have a partner? Okay, good, good. We still got some strays roaming around. Yeah. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. I know everyone. Raise your. So if your hand is raised, please go to somebody else's hand who's raised. If you do not have a partner, if you do not have a partner, raise your hand. All right. Okay. You know her, right? Erica doesn't have a partner. I know her. Linda, do you know Erica? I know everybody. You know Erica, Miss Linda? Okay, there's your partner.
We can pretend we don't know.
No, this is your partner. Okay. Miss Stephanie. We need one more partner. One more partner. Miss Stephanie needs a partner, somebody. You found a partner, Miss Stephanie? Miss Stephanie, you leaving? Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I want you to grab the hands of your neighbor, please. Your partner, rather. And we're gonna practice this first so you can get all of your giggles out. And we did this, Mr. Brown, at CASA. So if you can look into your partner's eyes, and we're gonna do that for 10 seconds. Look into your partner's eyes, yes. So get all your giggles out. We're not talking to our partners. We're not talking to our partners. We're not talking to our partners. We're just looking at them. That's it. We're not talking to our partners. We're just looking in their eyes. We're not talking to our partners. We're just looking at them. It's been more than 10 seconds. Y'all gotta follow instructions. Yep, we're not talking. We're just looking. There you go. Mr. Earl. Mr. Earl, we're looking in his eyes. Look in his eyes. Don't talk to him. Just look in his eyes. Yep. Yeah, y'all look in each other's eyes. Hold each other. Yes, yes. So everybody got their giggles out? All right, so I'm gonna list some characteristics, and I just want you guys to quietly reflect, okay? So you guys ready? So here we go. When looking into the eyes of your partner, do you know their race? We're not talking, we're just looking. We're quietly reflecting. Do you know their religion? Their ethnicity? Their nationality? When you look into their eyes, what do you think about their appearance? Their body structure? Their physical ability? When you look into their eyes, you guys are bad. When you look into their eyes, can you figure out what their sexual identity is? Their class, their social class, their gender preference, their age, their primary language, their immigration status, how much education they've acquired, their family structure, their occupation, okay. Y'all can let your partner's hands go, yes, yes. Give them a hug, give them a high five. So everybody go back to their seat, please. You got it, Felicia? You guys can have a seat. So go ahead and have a seat, please. So we all naturally have biases. It's something that we all have. It might look different for all of us, but when we're doing this work, this is going to be very important. So when myself and Cisneros met with Dr. Volcamore, Marsden, and Maneras, we asked the question, what's the definition of the stakeholder when it comes to the district? And they said, all of us that are in the room pretty much. And so we want to make sure that, because we come with different backgrounds, with different experiences, with different expectations, but we want to be very respectful of each other, how we feel. Even when we get together in the group and we give our feedback, nobody should be angry or upset or feel like one person's input is any more or any less important than the others, all right? So that was the purpose of that activity. Some people were having hot flashes because they had to hold people's hand or was uncomfortable, but it's okay. It's okay. So it's just it's just to help, relax us a little bit and get us ready to do some of the important work we have to do, okay? So. Thank you.
That was just beautiful, and I was, Felicia and I were struggling a little bit with that, but just because I knew we were going to hold hands, so I went right up and grabbed her hands, so we were holding hands for a really long time. But then we got some other things going on. But one of the things I said to her was, this would have been really good for us to do this. We had our site leaders together last week, so our principals and our assistant principals, and so you can imagine this whole room filled with people. And even though we work with each other all the time, we don't know all of that about each other, right? So that's a really good activity we'll take with us. Thank you so much. Another one of the powers of working in a collaborative team like this. So when we met, one of the pieces of information that our parents really felt was that we need to understand, how did we get to where we are today? Why are we here? So where's the history, the historical journey of this? And so they said that they would like to lead that conversation, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. We said we would give about 10 minutes, but just to understand what happened. I mean, I'm new to San Bernardino. I know it doesn't seem like I've been here, that I've been here a really long time, but I haven't even met my 1-year anniversary yet. It'll be August 15th. I'm holding that dear to my heart right there. And so there's a lot of us in here who may not know how this journey, where we started to get to here. And so we have, we don't have Miss Alva, do we? No, but we have Miss Ochoa, right? They spoke. Okay, good. I saw your face. I want to make sure we all agreed. So Miss Ochoa and then Miss Cisneros and Miss Robertson will just share where this started and how we got to where we are today. So if you don't mind coming up, ladies. You first, darling. Yes.
Lo voy a hacer en español.
Well, because she's okay. No, that's fine. She's going to use Spanish as a primary language. So if you don't mind coming up here to the microphone, or do you have a microphone? So she's going to say it in Spanish. So when it's translated out in English.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon to all.
Cuando me llamaron para venir a esta reunión,
When they called me to come to this meeting,
dije, bueno, otra junta más
I said one more meeting
para el mismo propósito.
for the same purpose,
Y no vamos progresando.
and we haven't progressed.
El año ya va a entrar otra vez para que nuestros niños sean matriculados.
Another year is coming in which they're going to have to register our students.
Y estaba pensando, otra feria de registración.
And I said another registration fair,
Y no hemos avanzado.
and it looks like we haven't progressed.
Espero que esta vez sí avancemos.
I hope that this time we advance.
Porque cuando uno ya tiene el propósito de hacer algo,
Because when you have a purpose for something, to do something,
por ejemplo, cuando
For-
uno va a la tienda a comprarse un vestido, un pantalón, ya sabe lo que uno va a querer.
for
¿verdad?
example, when you go shopping and you're wanting to buy a pant or a dress, you already know what you're going to get.
Es exactamente con el centro de matriculación.
That's exactly how it's related to the center of registration.
Muchos de nosotros
A lot of us
ya sabemos lo que es necesario. Es
know what is
urgente.
necessary,
Es urgente que
and
lo
it's
tengamos.
urgent that we do it.
Porque sin él estamos perdiendo muchos estudiantes.
Because without it, we are losing a lot of students.
Y muchos padres de familia vienen hasta nosotros que ya tenemos años ya en el sistema,
And a lot of parents come to us because we have been in the system for a lot of years,
preguntándonos de los diferentes programas.
asking us about the different programs.
Y es donde empezamos de que necesitábamos nuestro centro de matriculación de regreso.
And that's when we started to think about how we needed that center once again,
The Enrollment
the
Center back
enrollment
again.
center again.
Lo que teníamos en el centro de matriculación, y yo lo viví, porque mis hijos fueron, ahí los llevé.
I lived it as the enrollment center because I took my children there,
Y era un solo alto.
and it was one stop.
Se llenaba el paquete,
You filled out packages,
se revisaba toda la tarjeta de vacunas,
they reviewed the immunization,
se daba la
cards.
cita para el examen de lenguaje,
They did the language assessments,
nos explicaban los diferentes programas
they explained the different programs,
y todo lo teníamos ahí.
and we all had it all there.
Y eso es básicamente lo que necesitamos, más otras cositas más.
And that's basically what we need, in addition to another little things here and there.
Pero vuelvo a lo mismo.
But
Otro ejemplo,
I come back to the same
cuando
thing.
uno compra una casa,
When
uno
you-
no quiere todo el lujo en la casa,
When you
¿verdad?
buy a house, you don't expect to have all the luxuries at once.
Uno va paso a paso
You go
con
step
lo
by step
esencial.
with the essentials.
Las cortinas, la estufa, el refrigerador,
The
El
refrigerator,
plato,
the
el vaso,
drapes, the cups,
los
the plates,
utensilios,
utensils,
lo básico.
the basics.
Y ahí poco a poquito vamos
And
avanzando.
little by little, you
Vamos
start
comprando
progressing.
conforme vamos mirando las
And
necesidades.
then based on the needs, you start purchasing more things.
Yo pienso que hemos esperado mucho tiempo
I think we have
We have
lasted a
been
long
waiting too
time,
long. para darle el servicio a la comunidad.
to give
a
the service
nuestros
to the
padres.
community, to the parents.
Cuando ya sabemos, ya lo tuvimos,
When we already
ya
know,
sabemos las
we already had it,
necesidades.
we already know the needs.
hay que empezar desde ahí.
Let's start from there.
Y hablo por los padres que siempre
And
nos
I
están
speak
llamando
on behalf of the parents that are always calling us
para saber los diferentes programas que
to know
se
about the
ofrecen en el
different
distrito.
programs that we offer.
Yo sé que lo quieren también que se ofrezcan en las escuelas y está bien,
I know that you want it to be offered in the schools, and that's fine,
pero tenemos que tener el personal entrenado.
but we have to have the personnel that's trained.
Y muchas veces los padres llegan a matricular a sus niños
And sometimes the parents go to enroll their students,
y en ese momento esa persona entrenada está ausente
and at that time, that person that's trained is absent,
y reciben la información errónea.
and then they receive the wrong information,
Perdemos ese papá,
and then we lose that parent,
perdemos ese estudiante.
and we lose that student.
Gracias y espero que ahora sí trabajemos en esto y que este año lo
Thank you, and
tengamos
I
y
hope
que sea
that
centralizado.
this time we work together.
And we also want this place centralized. Al alcance de los padres que caminan
For the parents that are
toman
like
el
walk, or
autobús.
they take the bus,
o piden raite.
or they ask for a ride.
Porque incluso para nosotros, para mí,
For us,
yo
for
tuve
me,
que pedir raite ahora porque
I
no tenía carro.
had to ask for a ride
Está
to
en
come
el-
here
en
because
el
I didn't have
taller.
a car because it was in the shop.
Okay. Gracias.
I guess I can do both languages. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everybody. Padres, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí apoyándonos. Muchos de ustedes saben el trayecto, la lucha que hemos tenido. Y gracias a que nos unimos a nuestros hermanos afroamericanos, ahora todo está en papelito, como decimos, papelito habla, ¿verdad? Muchos de ustedes, algunos de ustedes han participado en reuniones que hemos tenido, tanto la señora Devona y yo, y hemos avanzado y muchísimas gracias por estar aquí apoyándonos. El trabajo de hoy, podemos decir que Ya estamos a un paso, solamente nos falta a que nos digan, este es el lugar. Y por eso les quiero que se den ustedes los padres un aplauso. Por su perseverancia y no darse por vencidos. I was just saying thank you, parents, for your perseverance, for your support, for everything that you've done in supporting us, DLAC. And of course, since we joined forces with our brothers and sisters, from COPE, African American, we unfortunately, it took a series of unfortunate happenings that got us to join forces because we realized that when us Latinos give our word, for us that's sufficient. But unfortunately, we had to learn the hard way that in America, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen and it's not going to happen. So that's why I want to thank you, parents, because we've done a lot of work, meetings after meetings, talking about it during our DLAC meetings, the surveys that most of you went through, and when Ms. Devona, Ms. Felicia supported us as well with our meetings. We are basically just one step forward, just one more step, just for them to tell us, this is going to be your site. This is where the location's going to be. And it's not just for one ethnicity. As I mentioned at one time at the board meeting, we have gone through the same struggles. We may be from different ethnicities, but we've been discriminated one way or another at one point in time in our lives. Our ancestors, brothers and sisters, people in our past. So this is a big accomplishment, so that's why I'm asking parents to give yourselves a hand for the support, and thank you. Thank you very much for the support that you have given us through this entire process. Thank you.
I'm in the middle, I'm the last one. So I'll be quick. We came along in this process, well, let me say this. So we're new in this process. So Ms. Ochoa and Ms. Abba started this process, I think about 3 years ago, and then Cisneros was brought in a little later, and then we were brought in, I think about February or March. So we're new to this process, but we didn't think it was fair for DLAC just to hear the voice of DAC and other African-American parents, because in order for us to be equitable, we have to make sure that we have the voice of everybody who are the stakeholders, right? And so we sent out surveys several times, and some of the results were surprising for some of us, and some of them were not. But here we are this evening, and this is just the beginning of another process. So please bear with us. We want to make sure that we have something that's sustainable, that's top-notch, that is going to be here many, many years after our children are out of this district, or after some of you employees are retired and living somewhere nice and not thinking about San Bernardino or whatever, wherever you are, right? We want to make sure that we have something that is worth having, and again, it can be something else that's added to SBC USD as another thing that they've done to make sure that they created something that's quality for the community and their students. So that's all I have to say. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Okay, so we are moving on. So if you take a look at the agenda, we really gave the core of the time to a process called Imaginization, which Dr. Volkemer and some of the team will lead you through. But before that, we did want to take a look at some data. So I'm going to separate you. You don't have to move anywhere, but I'm going to number you off. And in some envelopes and on your table, and I'll just grab this one, excuse me, Dr. Flores. All the data that, let me back up. When we met to look at the agenda, we said, all right, so which data do we need to look at this point for the purpose of this meeting? And so together we said, let's look at these 4 particular graphs. And so if you will open up the envelopes, you will see that there are graphs in there, but not every table is going to look at every piece of data. Because sometimes with data, we can get lost in it and then we won't get anywhere. And we really want you to think about what can the future look like? What's the legacy that this group of people are going to leave for the community of San Bernardino City Unified? So we want to spend the core of the time there. So you will see that in the top corner, there's numbers there, right? I'm going to number your table, and you're only going to look at that data on that for that number. The rest you can look at another time. This is the data that came from the surveys. We collected over 7,000 surveys. Thank you, Daniel and his team. The surveys just kept coming in, and they kept updating it, and it was a great turnout. So we have some really good data points. So let me number you first, and then I'll give you the directions. This table over here, you're going to be number 1, and you may work together as a whole group, or you may separate out. That's up to you, but you're going to look at graph number 1. This table back here, you're going to look at graph number 2. Again, you may work together, or you can separate. That's up to you. You're going to look at graph number 3. You can work together or separate. You are lucky table 4. Same thing, work together or separate. We're going to repeat it. So you're going to look at graph number 1, number 2, number 3, and your number 4. And all you need to do is, so each group has what your section is, and you see on the graph at the bottom, there's just one key question. And so you agree on what are the top 2 pieces of information from your survey question. What are the top 2 pieces of information? So take a look at your graph, agree as a group, what are the top 2, and then we'll share out across. Because these are the type of, this is the information we want to make sure we're all clear on. Okay? I'm going to give you, because I don't think it'll take you that much time, I'm going to give you 4 minutes to take a look at it, to determine what the top 2 are, and to choose one person to share out for the group. Okay? Got it? I'm going to set my timer. 4 minutes. Miss Medina, you don't want to join the table? I'm sorry. I thought I saw you and then I didn't and I did. I just didn't want to interrupt while you no, go ahead. No, I want you to be the scribe. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, no problem. How are you doing? I'm fine. How are you? Doing good. I'm going to call you tomorrow. I want a little more detail when I have Angela with me about your question at the board meeting about property. Okay? It'll be, I think, around...
I'm getting wet to death trying to get it right. Running back and forth.
What are the top 2 pieces of information?
But why did they take it away from us? Budget remember when everything went downhill?
I think a lot of the parents don't remember, especially.
That's 7,335. Yep, the 8341. Oh, I was, my math was wrong. I said 87, and it's actually 87.
I see, that's great.
Maybe more people coming in. Which is really what all the things of this entire discussion is that as a parent in the district, once my kids are enrolled, they're enrolled. So if you
initial plan was elementary to elementary school size. Secondary school school size. Yeah. The only reason I know that is I happen to be in that conversation.
Okay, raise your hand if your group needs a few more minutes. You need a few more minutes? Will 2 minutes work? Okay, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. 2 minutes. If you haven't already, please decide on your speaker. 2 more minutes. Okay, are we ready? Is this table ready? You guys good? Okay, great. Okay, so, and I heard some tables say, well, it's kind of obvious, and it is, but we don't want to make any assumptions. We want everyone the opportunity to look at the information. So this is Cindy Tamimi. She's my assistant for those who don't know her. She's my right hand, left hand, and everything in between. So yes, thank you, Cindy. So Cindy's going to chart the information. We're going to start with question number 1. So we had, this table was 1, and you guys, okay. So and there should be, is there a microphone at that table? Yes, okay, so go ahead, the spokesperson. So question number 1, if you would read the question. Is it on?
I think so, yes. Okay, so question number 1 is, what is the ideal location for the enrollment center? And so our top 2 pieces of information based on the survey question, number 1, if we offer both site and centralized location, we would capture 89% of stakeholders. And then our number 2, some parents are interested in mobile and online options. It's a small percentage, but it does exist, so we wanted to acknowledge that.
What was the percentage?
The percentage for number 1 was 89%.
89 for the site and centralized.
And we got that by adding the school site with both with the Board of E.
Great, thank you so much. Round of applause. We have one of our students speaking. We're very happy to have you with us.
The top ideal location for enrollment center, the top two pieces of information from our survey question would be the school site and the Board of Education building.
So you can check that one, Cindy.
And the Board of Education building.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead and add BOE on here. All right. Question number 2. I'm going to start on this side this time. So question 2 was back here, right? Okay. You have a microphone. Good afternoon. Is it on?
Hello? Too loud. We agreed that we need a full day of office hours, according to the data, and that we should consider, maybe the second one would be to consider in the future having extended evening hours, because we do have a small group of parents who cannot make it during office hours, as much as we try to give them the extra time.
Thank you. Round of applause. And so now you guys were number 2 also, right? Anything you would add, change, clarify?
We agreed to that our top 2 pieces of information were the morning 7:30 to 11:30, and early afternoon 11:30 to 7:30. But he also was discussing that we should at least put both hours together from 7:30 to 2:30. And how about taking one Friday out of the evening, out of the month, and having one stay open till late 7:30.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Round of applause. Are you guys number 3 back there? You are, right? Question number 3.
The first thing that we noticed was that the majority of people who turned in the survey requested enrollment between Monday through Friday. The second thing that we noticed were that parents also requested evenings and Saturday options. So there was not the majority of the parents, but about half of them requested evening or Saturday.
Thank you. Round of applause. Got to continue to spread the love. 3 is back here, right? Anything you would add or change?
We noticed the exact same thing, and then going into that next step, like other groups have also noticed, is that there's a request for some parents who need it open alternate hours, whether it be an evening or a weekend day. But yes, the top pieces of information is that it be open daily during the week, and then possibly an alternate time or day.
Great, thank you so much. And last but not least, we have question number 4, and we'll start on this side. Which name best fits the future center? You guys are 4, right? Yes.
Oh, is it me you're looking for? Good evening, everybody. So our question was, which name best fits the future center? I think it's always good to know, representing SBCUSD, where the foundation lies, which is on F and 7th. And the percentage there was pretty high, 52%. But my group and I decided that SBCUSD Enrollment and Resource Center was best fitting for our new project. We want to be able to have all the information necessary without being directed to here, there, north, south, east, and west. And I was truly impressed once upon a time with the Central City Mall, all of the resources that were offered at that time. And so that which is good, let's cling to it. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Round of applause. And who's there, Trayvon? Here you go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trayvon Martin. We had question number 4. So the first conclusion that we came to was parents may have been unclear on the question and or the option, because we see that 52% decided to call the name of the center SBCUSD, which is the name of the actual district. Our second conclusion that we came to, that it's clear that the parents want centralized services and an enrollment option. So we came to a conclusion that the name of the center should be Enrollment, or SBCUSD Enrollment and Resource Center.
Thank you so much. So the data painted a very nice picture for us. It gave us requests from our community as to the operating hours, the amount of days, have some options for parents who have to work late, have some options for parents who can't come Monday through Friday. And so as we design this, we will keep all that in mind. There are a few other survey questions that we're actually going to share that information when you go into your next task, which is actually the fun part, where we're going to be able to imagine and really dream about what is this center going to look like, how do we include all the different services that our community desires right now, and how do we even project onto what we don't even know what we may need, but still be nimble and flexible enough to be able to even respond to that. And so thank you for your input. You will see as we go through this process that this data will guide our work, and we will continue to come back to it. We'll get it all put together so everyone's nice and clear on it, but it's pretty obvious. And maybe our last part, this might be kind of fun down the road, is to have some kind of competition on what we call our SBCUSD enrollment. Maybe we can have some of our students do something down the road. So we'll play with that much later. I'm going to turn the mic over now to Dr. Volkemer, Ms. Robertson, and Ms. Cisneros. I think it is a group effort here, and they are going to lead you through imagining what this can look like in the future, and having some fun with it. And I don't know why it's so hot in here. I apologize. I did think it was so. The speed of trust kind of helps with the fanning too.
Good evening, everybody. So we drew the lucky straw. We get to do the really fun part of this whole thing, and that's take you through the imaginization process. And so how many of you have ever even heard the word imaginization before? Yeah, unless you've maybe been through the training or something. It's not a word. You've heard Imagineering maybe through Disneyland or whatever. But this really is a legitimate process. And my part of the task, we met earlier today to kind of divvy up our work as a team. And my part is to kind of legitimize what and explain what imaginization is. And so I'm holding this book in my hand. It's by a gentleman named Steve Zweiback. And Steve Zweiback is a nationally and internationally known expert in the area of facilitating meetings. So what he typically does is he brings people together and he teaches them how to conduct a process that'll get them to an end point and to achieve some type of objective or outcome. And he's actually done that work in some of the most complex environments in the world, like for governments and large-scale unions and that type of thing. But now he's in the twilight of his career, he has settled on really just wanting to teach people how to facilitate effectively. And he has worked extensively in our district and will be working in our district for the next 3 years in terms of training our administrators on how to facilitate. So he wrote this book, and it says Leadership Practices for Challenging Times, Principles, Skills, and Processes That Work. And you can see it's a fairly thick book, and it has dozens and dozens and dozens of different processes depending upon the type of work that you're trying to accomplish. This particular work is where you get to dream a little bit, where you get to take off the limiters, right? You don't have to worry about time and space and money. Well, don't completely, lose track of money. It is a finite budget. But really, what is it if we could take all the limits off? what would we come up with in terms of this center that would really be central for our parents in terms of engagement, enrollment, and other different types of services. And so my job, if you look on page 68 of this book, you'll find a 2-page description of the imaginization process. So it is a real process, and we're going to help go through it today with Mrs. Robertson and Mrs. Cisneros.
So we're going to split the table in half, and so one side of the table is going to work together and the other side will work together. And we really want you guys to think about more than, because this was challenging, and I told Dr. Volkmar I didn't want to be a part of this process. I wanted him to do it, because trying to get people to really step out of the box and imagine something that without having the expectation on the district ain't going to pay for that, they're not going to approve that, the board's not going to be okay with that, is very challenging. So we really want you guys to imagine. And imagine big, it's okay, and then they'll reel us back in where they have to. But if we don't shoot high, then we might end up with nothing at all, or with very little, right? And so, like I said, table in half. One side of the table will work together, the other side. And the two things we want you guys to do is actually draw out what you want to see, and then on the side of what you draw, list those things. So be thinking about the services that the district already provides. So one thing we do not want to do is we don't need to duplicate things. But one of the problems is that a lot of us parents don't even know what exists in the district, right? So we don't want to duplicate anything, and then we want to centralize things, and so there's the services that the district provides, and then there's outside services like Loma Linda SAC, behavioral health, public health department that can also come in and fill in some of the space and provide different services as well. And think about wellness, and not just for the students, but for the parents and for the district staff as well. So that's my piece.
Y mi parte es decirles a ustedes los padres, perdón, estoy un poquito enferma. Ahora toca el momento de soñar. Como les dije, ya estamos un paso a que nos digan nada más el lugar en donde va a ser. Lo que vamos a hacer ahora es de que en las mesas se van a dividir en la mitad, por mitad, y una parte va a estar trabajando en dibujar, van a imaginarse. Cuando nos reunimos con el doctor Volkmar, Devona y yo, se puso así, podemos tener un gimnasio, un spa. Le dije, no nos diga porque nos está llevando al paraíso, ¿verdad? Pero hay que soñar, ¿verdad? Los que ya han estado en estas reuniones, va a ser fácil porque ya sabemos lo que necesitamos, no lo que queremos, sino lo que se necesita para nuestros estudiantes. Entonces esa es la parte divertida de ahorita. Todo lo que ya hemos conversado en esas reuniones se va a poner en papel ahora y van a dibujar ustedes ese centro de matriculación que hemos estado pidiendo por 3 años. ¿Estamos de acuerdo? Ok, gracias.
The other thing that is going to come to your table is some additional data that Dr. Menares is going to pass around on the survey that parents took on the specific services that they would like to see. So you'll have that data to refer to as well in terms of, but don't let that limit your thinking. You may think of something that no one else in the district thought of, and that's great. Okay, so you should have 2 pieces of paper, 2 pieces of chart paper. We need some here. Where's Cindy? Oh, is this for this table? Got it, okay. So you're going to split the table in half, 1 page each, and just to review the instructions, they are on the overhead. You're going to draw a picture of what it would look like. You're going to imagine it, see the flow, see the rooms, and then on the other, part of that paper, you're going to draw what those services would be. Any questions about the directions? ¿No preguntas? ¿No preguntas? All right, we're going to give you about 15 minutes and then we'll check in with you.
So there's this whole thing about the centralized enrollment is what Nikki's concerned about. So I don't know if we should encourage them not to focus on the enrollment word, because that's what we're saying, but that's not what we really mean. They're not asking, the parents are saying they don't want it to be taken away from the school, so that's not what this is going to be. But
So I just passed these out.
okay.
Do you want to just, so, I mean, I could even just say, so we just passed these out, and this is, keep in mind that this, we want to offer services beyond, which include enrollment, but what else do we want to offer?
Right. Can you say that? So that.
Do you think I should do it right now?
Yeah, because she's saying it's not even her table. She said she feels like we're shaping the role they should go on versus giving them the flexibility to create.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes. So as you're going through this activity, we want to remind you that you get to dream on what will be in this center, and it can be much more than enrollment. If you take a look at the data that we collected, our parents are asking for lots of different opportunities to access community resources in our community in one location. So please allow yourselves to put anything and everything that you would like to see. Access things in the community in one location.
Finding the right system for kiddos, right?
So we've got like, that is true.
Because Beaver, it's like takes forever. And then Utah, we can get you right in 2 months. I know exactly. The school, like, he needs to, so do we have resources?
Maslow's needs kind of thing would go on and on.
I apologize, I have to leave. I'm super needed to see each other and distribute food distributions and food clothes. Like
Volunteer resource folks buy. Yeah, let's buy. If we're going with the Taj Mahal of the big, of
all the resources. Oh, we need a, yes, we need quiet space for.
You have about 5 minutes left, about 5 minutes. 5 minutes left.
So they initiated.
We got everything.
Yeah, we created. Different trainings, the opportunities. So relevant to the training that will get us on the job. Even in our own district, we have needs that aren't being met. We're not able to. Sometimes parents are just for the part-time job.
My transportation was on there, and I did add that to art, and then help for foster and homeless youth. Because I had a kid who came in
asking different people, and leaders were all gone last week. So he's like, no one knew what to do. And so, yeah, he could have felt perhaps he could have got discouraged.
All right, I really hate to do this and ruin your flow, but I've got to call you back together. So if you can see my hand, will you raise your hand, please? And I'm going to give you the next steps of what you're going to do. If you can see my hand, will you raise your hand, please? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Flores. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Trayvon. Excellent. So here's what you're going to do. And we know we just got your creative juices flowing, and now we're going to, stop you. But here's what you're going to do. At each of your tables, you have a set of these very fluorescent orange dots. Every person gets 3 dots, okay? And only 3 dots. No stuffing the dot box. And what you're going to do is you're going to put 3, you can use your 3 dots to spend on the service or services that you think is most important in your drawing, okay? Everybody understand the question? Or you're only supposed to have 3. So you should have 3 dots each. You get to spend 3 dots on the service or services that you think are most important. So you can spend all 3 dots on one service or 1 dot on each of 3 services, okay? You have 1 minute to do that. 1 minute. And then we'll tell you what we're going to do next. 1 minute. Spend your dots. Oh. I'm coveting the dots. Spend your dots. Spend those dots. All right.
I'm sending my text up on your Oh my god. Sorry. It's because how we're gonna.
Slow time. I think we did the right thing on it because I've been occupied for 2 hours. I just think it's slow. That's I punched it a couple times.
All right, your dots should be spent in 5, 4, 3. Don't let Mrs. Ochoa have all the dots. 3, 2. Your dots are almost spent. 1. 0.75. 0.538. 1/16. All right. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you, but before we do, we want to let you know we're going to take all of this work and look at all of your dots and conglomerate it and get some patterns that we'll share at the next meeting. So if your favorite feature or your favorite service did not get a whole lot of dots, don't worry. It may be on someone else's table and gotten all the dots, okay? So all of it will be taken into account, and Ms. Cisneros is going to lead us through the last part of the activity.
Okay, so each table has 1 minute, and you guys get to choose 2, Dr. Volcom again, 2 services, And one unique feature of your enrollment center. 2 services, yes. So everybody has 1 minute. And the clock is ticking. Let's go. Who wants to go first? Okay, you'll volunteer. Okay. All right.
Let's give Trayvon our
Yes.
attention.
Yes.
Each table is going to get 1 minute.
So what was you guys' service? Health and wellness. Health wellness. Hello, everyone.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Can we get back to the center of this conversation, this meeting? All right. Let's get pay attention to Trayvon, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you can hold it up. So our table came to the consensus of our 2 services that we would like to see at the center. It is our health and wellness services, so our health, dental, vision, medical, and then our wellness, including behavior, mental health services. And then our unique feature is our commodities, laundry, basically basic needs, meeting them where they are when they come into the center. That way their mind is framed to think educational, to think mental health, and to think all these other services. So that's our unique feature.
Good job. Thank you. Okay, who wants to share out next?
Anybody?
Oh, come on.
All right, we're not good at drawing, but we built a building and labeled it G because we like saying G on this side of the table. Shout out, especially to former water polo players on the far end. Christian, there you go, one of my players. All right, we thought a service center was important, a resource information area was important. Our number one area of import, something special for the building, is we wanted air conditioning because we thought that that's abnormal. So our special aspect is it's going to have air conditioning. Actually, the special aspect we wanted was a library for kids to be able to sit down and read while parents are enrolling their students.
Thank you. That's very good. Thank you. Next.
Our group, I don't know if one of our fellow table members wants to hold it up. We made ours in the shape of a heart. So I don't know if you can find an architect that might be able to knock that out for you. But we really thought about what this is. It's about the community. It's not about all the pieces of what's in there. It's really not about enrollment. It's really not about getting shots. It's about what are we doing, what we need for our community. So we feel like our unique feature is that it really is a heart. It's a centralized space, whether that's centralized geographically or centralized as kind of an idea concept of providing everything for everyone as much as we can. So the 2 things that really stood out for us were the educational programs, and that includes parents getting information, but also being able to get assessments. So if I come in and I have a student that has special ed needs and I can get an assessment, or if we need a language assessment, or we can have all of that there and not keep kind of farming people out, because there's a sense of frustration when you go, well, you really have to go down to blah, 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 blah. The second thing that was really important were some of the social services, recognizing where we are in San Bernardino and some of the challenges. So everything from food and clothing, homeless services, us being a connector to other agencies. There are other agencies that do amazing things and are excellent at what they do, so why should we try and be the same? We should be that connector. And again, our unique feature is feel the love. We want to be that connector. We want to be that centralized place where our parents feel like no matter what my need is, I can go to my school district and they will provide what I need.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, who's next?
I've got one over here, Mrs. Snow.
Okay.
We looked at it in terms of being a full circle effort on the behalf of the district
serving students and the community at the heart of all of it. The major focus that we came up with was health services, including the need for laundry for youngsters who may not have that access at home. Secondly is partnerships with the adult school, with the community center to provide training, among other things, not just for the practitioners in the system, but also for our families and our parents for job-centered training and so on. And we also have the information on programs that are available in the school district and for all different programs that we have available in ways that folks can learn what they are and how to access them.
Thank you.
If we thinking where we dream, we already have the place. It's in 7th Street and Arrowhead. That's the building now available. As somebody they remember, they have services for Sabeta or things, sounds like that. So we have this table and we working together. We asking for the Board of Education to approve one engagement center. This is the Family Engagement Center we're gonna have the workshop for the K-12. In that workshop, provided from parents volunteer. My dream that maybe is 8,000 volunteers, parents involved with this dream. So they're gonna give you the workshops about all the programs, about the AVE, about the GAY, about the BAPA, all the programs that exist, and we have opportunity, parents volunteer can be clap for teach the students for reading, math, science, everything. They can come and find one place to can be happy other students or childs. And we have this is the building, the three-floor building. So the first building is Enroll Center with all that you think about it. And the second floor is Health and Center. We talk about more in focus with the chats, all the requirements for volunteers. So in the third floor, we're gonna cover the workshop I'm talking about. So this is a dream, and I hope we can be true. And I can put more in here because after this, we have more dreams.
Erica, let's just one clarification. We already have a family engagement center. This is the Enrollment Resource Center. That's the name that we need to come up with. So there's no confusion. We already have a family engagement center, okay? Thank you. Next. Do you guys have a mic?
We have one right here.
Okay, okay. They're gonna go first and then you guys, okay?
Okay, hi, my name is Christian, and so our group, we divided it into 2 stories. So the bottom story would be, our basic services, and then the top would be more of the specialized, like behavioral health or youth services, foster community resources, etc. And so we want to start it off by saying that it needs to have a lot of parking, so a lot of people can be there, and there's no trouble with that. And we're gonna need a food court because food just makes everything better.
We told them.
And it's gonna need to look very welcoming and nice. So kind of have like a lot of nature and just, probably like a park and just like nice stuff, to make it look nice. Okay, so we enter and then it's those doors that open like that, the ones like that, how we got in here, like that, make it look nice. Friendly receptionist, and then start off, we're gonna need to put a place for kids or teens to chill while their parents are doing what they have to do, the reason that they're here at this SBC USD Enrollment and Resources Center. And then we're gonna need bathrooms, and we're gonna need elevators as well as stairs. Elevators for convenience of people that may have a baby stroller, and stairs for the ones that want the exercise. The offices? Okay. So the offices that we thought that were most important is all of them, but we have the behavioral health, we have the special education, we have youth services, we have a clinic, we have an enrollment center, we have bilingual services, language assessment, school counselor, DLAC, we have foster services, community resource, gate, and business services. And all throughout the building, we just want it to look nice and beautiful, so we can include nice little paintings, and we can even have a nice San Bernardino mementos, and like we can have the work of our students, and like we can put their paintings, just make it look nice, and so like we're representing San Bernardino as well. The name? Again, okay, and again, this is the SBC USD Enrollment and Resources Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else wants to share?
Yeah, I
Let
have
them
one.
go first and then.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So our dream facility incorporated a lot of different purposes. So we wanted one that had repurposable and a lot of room. So we thought 2 or more stories, like a lot of these other people. And our two most important things were our health centers for like shots and things you need for enrollment, and our career and college readiness, because a lot of these things need a lot of parents need information as well as the students for not only enrollment in high school, but education past or career prep past that. And our facility incorporated a number of basic essential things like a cafeteria, but we also thought of other things that would be more beneficial to individuals and the community. So places where children can rest, where parents can quietly fill out their paperwork for all the different enrollments and things that they need. And we thought of a community garden, like a cute little thing where it promotes health and wellness for not only the students, but the community around it.
Very nice, thank you.
Okay, we have our enrollment center here, which you see, San Bernardino Unified School District Enrollment Center and Resources. And our first 2 important ones that we chose was, our first one would be diversity and culturally competent staffs. And our second one would be just knowledgeable staffs on how to navigate through the engagement and through the school district, period. And in immunization and health services and sports physicals with TB testing. So we felt like this would be more important to help parents get through and make it easy for them. So they don't have to be driving all around town trying to find how can they get their kids tested for sports physicals. So yes, we will definitely go with the diversity and culturally competent staffs. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. This table hasn't shared yet, okay? Mr. Arellano?
Our specific is it is really a central location, 777 North F Street. It has plenty of available parking space for all the parents. One of the things that we really wanted to focus on, the community room could be used for conferences and workshops, and we would like to see transportation to and from there. Another one would be having a crisis team available, and that would be available for student issues, trauma, emotional, sexual, etc.
Nice. Right here, you guys ready?
Okay, so this is pretty much what it would look like. It's pretty basic, but there's a lot of unique features incorporated in our building. It's only 1 floor, and our 3 unique features are the lounge area, just for students, and maybe if the mom wants to take control, because I know it's how it is at my house, if my mom wants to take control, and if my dad just wants to wait, or if, just things like that. Just a simple waiting area, a waiting room, and then here there's an attached food court, and then also, we have parent-teacher computers, so if you don't have internet access at home, you can come here. And then this is also a really great idea brought up by someone else here at the table, and It's a clothing exchange for students who don't always have enough money for clothing. They can come here. And also, if you outgrow clothes, take them here. And then we have, in red here highlighted, we have our just basic services. We have counseling, behavioral resources, special programs, AP, IB, etc. And then we also have health, immunization, TB, dental, vision, just things like that. And then in green, we have our essentials for each grade level. We have elementary, middle school, and high school. We have ELL, GATE, special needs, and dual immersion. And also we have sports, and then obviously we have our restrooms, and that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, hello? Okay, so the first thing we thought of is if money wasn't an obstacle, what would we put in this building? And well, pretty much, you know, we thought of all the needs that we think we need. So first of all, will be a building that will be centralized. And when you come, this is the whole building. So when you come in, there will be like a reception or an information desk, kind of like when you walk in to like a hospital and you see like the security guard on the side who, you know, welcomes you a little bit. Well, we want someone who's positive and happy and knows the right information, because some of all the kids or the people who will come to this, like the foster care, special ed, clinic, also for pregnancy tests, many of these parents or students who would come in are broken or are, you know, sad. So this person needs to be on their A game all the time. And then from here, he would redirect them to wherever they need, which will be the foster care, special ed, assessment center, the programs which, you know, are the bilingual reclassification, the bill of literacy, the seal of literacy, mental health, which is counseling, and also like a private room for the one-on-one programs, which like GATE, AVID, Gear Up, etc. Also to let us know of information for tutoring. Some of the parents, we want tutoring for our kids. Where can we go about preschool and TK for a lot of the parents, summer school, and then job opportunities. In the clinic, we will include dental or vision, pregnancy tests, vaccines, and also for physicals. And this one will be an education and fun corner for all those parents that do come with their children. They have their little section over here. And also a meeting room, because reality is that here in San Bernardino, there has been shootings and things like that. We need a room for where the community to come in, and instead of us trying to go and help and support, we're kind of like, well, where are they going to have it? What school? What high school? We're trying to look for the information. If we already know there's a building for that, we already know it's going to be in the meeting room, where we're all going to go here, and then we'll, you know, see from there. So, oh, in a bus stop, if I know that's the city thing, but a bus stop for the parents or the people who don't have necessarily a vehicle, just don't want to ride and use their gas, a bus stop, so they could just make one stop and have all of that.
Very imaginative. Mrs. Loera? Anyone else besides Mrs. Loera's table that hasn't shared? Okay.
So the rest of the time is for me?
No.
Okay, we learn from the best. So we learn from Consuelo, Kickbush, that we have to have a vision. This is our vision. So we have the enrollment center, and it's going to be a 2-storage. First of all, it's going to be a lot of parking all around. And then we're going to have a shuttle for the people that can't drive or they don't have a car or they can't take the bus, we're gonna have a shuttle for emergencies to go pick them up. And then on the first floor, we're gonna have a person in the front, smiling face. We're gonna have a lobby, an enrollment center. We're gonna have a school supply discount store. So that came from one of our students. We're gonna have a childcare, a conference room for parent meetings. On the top floor, we're gonna have the health services, immunizations, counseling, pregnancy tests for students, PAPs, physicals, and TB tests for my parents' volunteers. So this is our vision. We're very positive that we're gonna make it.
Yes, we are. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that out, and I'll pass this on to Dr. Monares. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Well done, well done. All right, so we are a little bit behind in time, just slightly, but we think we can, if you can just maybe give us an extra 5 minutes, would that be okay with everybody? We think we can get the last two pieces done, and then send you on your way, and we'll be back again on the 24th. So, but before I move on, I don't want to forget, did Miss Medina leave? Oh, okay. Well, so we have one of our board members is here, but she just stepped out, so she'll be back in, Abigail Medina. So we just wanted to recognize her. All right. So the last two pieces, we got to hear the dreams, and what we'll be doing with this is we will bring these posters back. We will be looking at them. We'll fine tune. We'll come down with what are the must-haves, what are the additional services, and there was really great ideas. And I know you heard overlaps across the tables, so that's wonderful. Our next piece is, so where can this possibly, this beautiful new opportunity for our community, this new heart, as the table back there spoke of, where could it be and kind of what's the process? And so we have people who work in the district, and that is their work, and that is facilities. So I'm going to invite Tom Pace to come on up and just do a walkthrough. And as Tom is walking up, if you have questions, what we're going to ask for you to do is in the little bags, there's Post-its. If you would put it on the Post-its, we'll come back and we'll respond to those questions next time, just because there's just not enough time tonight, but we don't want you to forget your questions. So go ahead and grab the Post-its if you need them. We'll put a parking lot up somewhere, and you can just stick them on there on your way out, and again, we'll bring all of that back. Okay? Come on up, Tom. Let's give Tom a round of applause.
All right, they told me I have to be short, so I'm going to do some power talking here. All right, so Dr. Marston talked about form follows function, and we've talked a lot about function tonight. So I'm the guy who actually helps create the form. That's my primary charge within the district, as I work doing all the new construction and modernizations of our campuses. So I plan on walking us through the next stage, timelines, what we're looking at. So one of the first things we need when we build a new building or look at leasing a building is developing the requirements of the building, which we did tonight. So over the next few months, we're going to be reviewing those requirements, and we are going to establish a budget and spatial requirements. What that means is now that we have all the requirements, we need to put square footage to things. So we talk about a library, we talk about medical, we talked about office space. So we need to actually pencil out how much square footage that building is going to look like. Once we have the square footage, that's primarily what drives budget, is square footage. We know what buildings cost based off of the different design requirements. So we've got to create square footage and then a budget. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to look at leasing versus new construction. So we're going to look around town. We've already been looking. We've got some ideas. But until tonight, I really didn't know what the full requirements of the building are going to look like. Now that we have that, we can now start to build a model that looks at leasing versus new construction and what fits best for the district and the community long term. We are going to, from there, we will hire an architect. We have a firm in mind. I'm sure they could do a heart-shaped building if we asked them to. We put a man on the moon, anything's possible. It's just a matter of how much it's going to cost. I hear 3-story buildings, and it makes my wallet hurt a little bit, but hey, you know, we're up for anything. We're up for the challenge. So we'll hire an architect, and they will develop layouts and concepts, and our goal is within the next few months to come back to this same group with some layouts and concepts that you can look at. We're going to get some renderings done. We're going to come back and talk about the analysis that we did for lease versus new construction. And from there, we're hoping to get board approval on our project concept. Once a concept is selected, we actually have to design something, shockingly, and that takes some time. The code process in California is pretty restrictive. There's a lot of different considerations. There's parking, there's accessibility, there's structural considerations for earthquakes. I'm the guy everyone hates because everyone thinks it takes too long to do things. So you can hate me and throw rocks at me later, but I'm telling you now, it's going to take a while. It's going to take about a year to design something. From what I have heard today, it could even take longer, especially if we go 3 stories. But we will work to make sure that we do this quickly. And then once it's designed, we have the construction time period. If we're leasing a property, we can probably reconfigure a leased property in about 9 months or less. If we're doing new construction, we're looking at anywhere from 18 months to longer. That's pretty much in a nutshell the process to create the form. You know, it's been a pleasure to be here tonight and to hear the exciting opportunities that we have. And it's good to see democracy in action. We have a diverse group of people coming together to talk about the needs of a community. And for me, it's a pleasure to have been a part of the process, and I appreciate it. So with that, actually, next slide. Let's look at the next slide. So this is just an example of some things that we will bring back to look at. This is just an idea. It's not set in stone. This is just an idea that we came up with. But this is what we'd be bringing back to you. If we looked at a 7,000 square foot building, I took the BOE, I plotted where a building could fit and showed the parking. So this is the types of things that we'd be looking at in a couple months, the different ideas and concepts that are out there. So I just wanted to show an example of what is possible, not saying that this is what it is or will look like. So with that, have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, so this is an example. So picture this as just visually when it comes back, they're going to look like this, which I don't know about you. I don't read blueprints, so this is different for me. But I want us all to understand that when this comes to us, this is what's called a rendering. Is that correct, Tom? Oh, he's talking. I think this is what they call renderings. Is this a rendering? Oh, see, I don't even know. That's okay. He's allowed to do that. Okay. Got it. Yeah, it is quite a process. Oh, that's what I like to see is the renderings. Those are much more visually appealing. Yes. Right, this is just an example. So please, please, everyone turn to the person next to you. It's just an example. Just an example, okay? We're not walking out of here, oh, they came and they told us this, and no, just an example. That's all it is. Everything you gave us is what's going to help shape and build this new space, this new center, heart center for our community. And you know what's even more wonderful, and then we're going to get to our confidence line and go home, is so many of the services that you're asking for, we actually have in the district. We just have them in lots of different locations. So we would all like to be able to have them housed so that everybody's accessing them and can access them and knows how to access them. And when you come into the community, your neighbor, your comadre knows where to send you to because we all know where it is. So that's what's wonderful is it's just finding that space and making it happen. So again, all on the same page here. Yes, absolutely.
So my question is, so what is going on with the Carousel Mall? Because we already had it there. It was successful. Is that building, or is that the city have it now, so it's not even an option? Okay. Okay, so that was my question.
Thank you for that question, though. And we did put up a parking lot over there, so if there's any other questions, and if you want to be you want to be not have to put your name on it, of course, that's fine. We're at the last part, and then we're going to move on. So we like to do this. We like to get a check, a little dipstick, a little thermometer. Where are we right now? How are we feeling? And we're going to do this confidence line a little bit different. You've probably done confidence lines in the district where we go 1 to 10. Right, and we say, how confident are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, we're changing it up a little bit on you, and we're going to use red light, yellow light, and green light. So that's why red, yellow, and green is in the back. Did you have a question for me?
Some of the other things in San Bernardino. The San Bernardino been bankrupt for over 5 times. They lost the right to handle the money now, and also the mayor and the city council and them don't handle the money no more. They have an outside source that is taking care of the money now and everything until they can rebuild San Bernardino back up. That's the only way things are going to happen. San Bernardino City have went down so much and everything, so that's why we don't have a lot of access to a lot of things. So now we have to work around situation because of these type of situation that is going on. See, I follow a lot of things with the city councilman, and these are some of the things that is happening.
Thank you, appreciate that. And you know what, something that wasn't shared at the beginning, just so everyone knows, we are actually live streaming this tonight, so next time we will also live stream it every time we come together. So if you can, yes, you have been live, yes, people may be listening to you right now. So, just so you know, you can share that with your peers who may not be able to come next time but want to watch this. All right, so here's the process. We've got red light, yellow light, green light. And the question that we want you to get up and show us is, how confident are you that we are building and nurturing our relationships and will continue to work toward the offering of a centralized building for family engagement and the possibility or options for centralized enrollment. So if you don't feel we're there at all, you would be over at a red. If you feel like, okay, we're kind of there, kind of starting to in the yellow, and then green is, yes, I'm confident that we're nurturing and building the relationships that we need in order to get to this, this center for our community. So if you would go and stand in one of those areas, and I'll give you the next direction, please.
To stand in the yellow, red, oh,
And so if you're, let's see, well, you guys can you'll talk to each other, it's fine. Okay, so now the second question, normally we would have you talk with each other as to why, but we think we can maybe get that out of the conversation with this second question also, trying to, again, look at time. So the second question is, all right, so you've got your commonality, right? So I can see our reds, I can see our yellows, and I'm thinking our greens start right over here with the Benjamins. Talk with each other. What is it going to take for you to move to the next color? And if you're at a green, what's it going to take to keep you there? I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to talk with each other, and then we'll ask for some share outs. We don't need everybody, but we're going to share out and we're going to chart, because this helps to guide us in our next meeting, which, by the way, is July, not June 24th, July 24th. Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to give you 2 to 3 minutes. Answer question number 2 amongst each other. What would it take to move you to the next color or keep you at your green? Go.
A ver, la medida del micrófono. La medida del edificio. Entonces ya que sepan lo que van a regresar a decirnos. Eso es lo que quieren.
Todo esto cambia. Estos son square feet.
Whoever wants to
This is for the green team. Whoever wants to speak.
Okay, what am I saying?
Or probably Rio Vista, maybe.
Eso es lo que decían por el que queremos tener el wishlist. Ya lo tienen, entonces ahora ya dijeron, ya tienen idea, ya saben lo que queremos, ya han visto lugares, ahora lo que van a ver es qué es lo que les conviene, construir el edificio o arrendar el edificio. De lo que necesitamos.
Okay, guys, we're gonna start sharing out. So if we could keep our comments to comments, we're gonna share out so we can all go home. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start with, and thank you, Trayvon, I appreciate that. So we're going to start with the red group. And so red, we need to know what is it going to take for you to move over here when we talk about this idea of building and nurturing our relationships. And Sandra's going to chart for us. So who's speaking on behalf of red? Thank you, Ms. Chambers.
Okay, so I want to qualify this by saying that I feel like the group, we recognize that this is a need. So this is not us saying that we don't realize that this is a need in our community. So I want to qualify it by saying that. However, our concern is really a lot of the logistics, and there's still some level of frustration that we're still being asked, well, what do you need? What do you? I think we kind of know what we need. I think that if we asked the staff at the BOE, at the Wall Building, at the FRC, we know what we need. I think the issue is, are we going to step outside of ourselves to what we want as individuals? I want this. So this is the most important thing, and that's all we do. There are so many different viewpoints here that we have to stop thinking about it from a singular purpose, because we're not moving anywhere. We're not accomplishing anything. And when you look at every single group here said pretty much the same thing. We want services, we want programs. No one said our top priority is to enroll my student. And I know this is me, I'm gonna not put this on the group. I say the one thing that we walk out of here with is that we stop calling it the Enrollment Center. I can get my eyebrows done at the Walmart in Highland, but they don't call it Walmart Eyebrow Center. We are minimizing what the great things that we do by putting us in a little pocket of this is the name. So I think we need to get out of ourselves and what we want. Because if it was up to me, it'd be a center that's just for African American boys who have autism, because that's my issue. And we can't do that anymore. We have to stop. We come together physically in this room, but we still aren't coming together up here. And I think that's the real issue. I support this. I support defending our families and strengthening our families, but we got to get outside of ourselves or we're not going to move anywhere. I think we need to think bigger. And think out of, and I know that's so cliche, but everybody has to stop thinking about, I want this. This is what I want. This is what I want. You have to start thinking globally, and we can have a real global plan on what we need to provide for the students in our district.
Good evening once again. Well, for Sharon, I'm in a yield position. Why am I in a yield position? Because I'm new to the table, but I matter. We went before the school board district, and school board member Abigail Medina had a discussion amongst her peers and said, had we not discussed this before, 2-3 years ago? And to me, that was a concern. So I'm in a yield position. But let me tell you where I stand right now. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Tonight, we were able to come together. Diversity with all concerns, opinions, suggestions, but we are touching and agreeing that our families, our students, our committee, we matter. And in order for us to hold the school district and those that have power and authority to make a difference accountable, we need to make sure that in July, everyone that's present here tonight, and invite more to come out, because accountability is important. Talk is cheap, action speaks louder than words. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I'm encouraged in making hope happen in our school district, in our schools, in our home, and in our community. And I'm just trusting and praying that we come together as one, and I hope to see myself eventually in the green corner, where success takes its place. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Anybody else from that group?
Nisha, could you share what will move you to, thank you, Sharon, what will move you to green?
Thank you. That's a big group, so.
Okay, so we talked about, because the question, I'm sorry, English teacher, even though I'm a parent tonight, but the English teacher was driving me crazy, because the question was what's going to move us to the next level. So we talked about what would move us to the next level is actually seeing the action. Once the ribbon cutting happens, or once we walk through the doors and actually see the things that were put on the table. So for us, we were a yellow because there's a saying, the proof is in the pudding. So we're waiting for just more proof.
Thank you. Thank you. That captures the yellow group. We're ready. Okay, excellent. So now we're moving on to green. How do we keep you there, and how do we, because we need more. Green.
It's pretty much piggybacks on what some other people have said, but what will keep us at green are specific action items and benchmarking of that and monitoring to make sure that we're continuing with that action, working towards that goal. And then the second thing is to continue to engage inclusion in all stakeholder voices for parents, so that we're so that diversity is key, and that all cultural groups of parents are included. For example, English learners, African American, working parents, parents that stay home, etc., so that we make sure that it's an inclusive space.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody else in the green? No. Okay. Excellent. Do we? I'm sorry. Wait, you need. You live stream.
Testing, sorry. We discussed what would move us is the timeline, and not really going back in circles, because we've had the same conversation many times. So we would like to see a definite list of services and things we're going to provide at the center with an actionable timeline. And then also making sure, because it seems like it may be like a 3-year process, making sure in 3 years we have the funding without trying to pass another bond, and making sure that we have the funding and we have all the services listed.
So, thank you so much. So, yes, let's give everyone a round of applause. Thank you.
Dr. Monares, ¿puedo agregarle algo, por favor? Como dijo el joven aquí, son 3 años que han pasado. ¿Cuántos años más van a pasar? Toda nuestra comunidad, todos nuestros niños de todas las razas no van a tener el servicio otro año más. El dinero ya está. Se han hecho ferias de matriculación. Me acuerdo el primer año que yo le pregunté, no me acuerdo si fue Dr. Buchemer o Dr. Marson, hagan una feria de matriculación para que miren la necesidad de toda la comunidad, toda la comunidad. Entonces, lo que les quiero decir, ellos estuvieron presentes, miembros de la mesa directiva estuvieron presentes, ellos les preguntaron a los padres vinieron hacia ellos y les dijeron, gracias por esta feria, necesitamos un lugar donde nosotros podemos llevar a nuestros hijos a registrar.
Ms. Ochoa, can I translate? It's okay. I'm going to do my best to translate. So Ms. Ochoa was saying that, it's been 3 years, or it's been many years, and we know that for this to happen, we already heard our facilities share that it's going to be a few years before this will actually take place. And in the meantime, there's been students who have not received the services that they should be receiving. And so then I think you went on to talk about the enrollment fair that has taken place, and that and when you attend the enrollment fair, you see the need for services that our community is asking for, because they are trying to understand what the programs are in the district. So reiterating the importance and the timeline of this work. Did I summarize it?
Sí.
Is it okay?
Yo estoy un poco frustrada y triste porque otra vez nuestros padres, nuestra comunidad, nuestros programas duales, es importante que nuestros niños aprendan los 2 idiomas, pero los papás no saben que existen esos programas o cómo registrar a sus niños en esos programas.
So she shared that she's a little bit frustrated because we have our dual immersion program here, and our students deserve and should be in dual language programs, but they're not being filled. Our parents don't know about them.
También los de Gate, los de Foster Kids, todos ellos, es una necesidad enorme, grandísima.
Additionally, GATE students, foster youth, many needs in the community.
Entonces yo les pido por favor a los que pueden hacer el movimiento más rápido, apresurado, el edificio ya lo tenemos. Caminamos con, no me acuerdo quién, pero Dr. Marson estaba con nosotros, doctora Flores estaba con nosotros, Dr. Wiseman me parece, no me acuerdo, pero les mostramos que en el edificio F, ahí ya tenemos el espacio a la parte baja. Y la clínica sería uno de los portátiles.
So she is asking if we can move a little bit faster, that they've walked the building and there is some portables in the back. Is that what you're referring to, Ms. Ochoa?
Uno de los portátiles podría ser la clínica.
Right, so one of the portables in the back can be the clinic.
Y en sí, donde está el departamento bilingüe, ahí se pueden agregar todos hasta enfrente. ¿Se recuerda, Dr. Marson, de eso?
She's
Doctora
asking
Flores?
if you remember walking.
Sí. Sí, sí.
Tenemos ese portable para la clinic. We already have that portable for the clinic. And then the other portables are available there. And I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. If we want action, why couldn't we have an interim action? If it's going to take 3 years to build the building, why don't we pick the essential services and have that central place or wherever, and then we build the building so that we can provide those central services, which I believe, our community needs. And but then we would have to pick which ones. I'm just talking out loud. Yes, Sonia.
Because we know it's going to take a while, and we know that people want to see action, and of course we do. I mean, like I said, we coming in the tail end of it, but we having these conversations. I can understand frustration. So if we're going to walk away today after spending our long day at work, coming in, doing this, so what's going to be our takeaway that we can say this is something the district's going to do within the next 30 days? That you can come back at our next meeting and say, this is the next step that we're doing. We're organizing the portables or something where you can meet with Ms. Robertson and Cenero and work out some of the details with some of the other different stakeholders, that we could actually see movement instead of another meeting and having other conversations.
Well, I do want to say that out of respect for people's time, we want to wrap it up. And then if anybody wants to continue to ask questions or have dialogue, there's the parking lot up front. And remember that we are going to have, unfortunately, another meeting, but it's part of the process, because in order, we mapped out some things tonight, but then we also have to discuss what is going to happen in the meantime. And we can't do that tonight because we've been at work all day, or we've been taking care of households all day. And so we'll address that.
Can I say
at the
something?
next meeting.
Can I say something? I want to support this. This is very important. We come here, we spend time here, we tell tell what we want to see it. And I remember we participate with the LCAP. If you do not open one budget for this, it looks like we continue to talk about this. I think it's coming the approved budget for LCAP and the Board of Education July 27. I hope everybody we can go there. But for me, I don't have a lot of education, but all the time we're thinking about something made it, is how much is it? If you don't put it in the budget, so we don't have anything. So I want to share with everyone, if they think the same, we're gonna see exactly for how much we're gonna start it to start this dream.
That's it.
So our next meeting is intended to say what's going to happen in the meantime. We're going to do some backward mapping. That is the intent of the meeting. So it's on the 24th. I know on the agenda in Spanish it said junio. Tenía que decir julio, July 24th. Same place, same location. We will be doing some backward mapping. Thank you so much for coming.
Hello. I just wanted to say something to everybody in here. I know everybody in here is very, very important. So I come from the community from Los Angeles and Baldwin Park, and everybody's looking at San Bernardino. Everybody's looking at San Bernardino because we're making a big progress. Everybody's asking me, how come you don't come back to LA? I go, no, because I'm part of San Bernardino. So let's do our best. We are doing our best in San Bernardino. We're making hope happen in San Bernardino. And I'm proud to be part of San Bernardino. So let's keep it up.